Greetings everyone. This is Tanaka TV and here I am in my library. I don't know what to talk about, but I think we can talk about so comics. As you can see, I do have some comics right here. Yeah. It's graphic novels, so I only have 3 from the Romans of the Three Kingdoms. The rest of my comics are mostly, well, I do have some Dark Horse comics, but only a few, and most of them are indie kind of comics, not really DC or nor Marvel. I do have lots of indie comics. Perhaps, yeah. And I do have this, Legends from China, Three Kingdoms graphic novel. Let's see here. Yeah. Also have, oh look, number 2. Which is Lubu. Lubu's on the cover. This one is Liu Bei with Guan Yu and Zhang Fei. Although it looks like Cao Cao though, for a video game. And I'm not sure who's this, but this is probably the Emperor. Yeah, Emperor Shan. Emperor Shao, I think. Not sure, but I do have more comics. Yeah, one of my favorites is also this graphic novel, War of the Worlds. No, black and white. So yeah. And then, although I do love this big ass graphic novel, they call it a manga, but it's not a manga though. But in the standards of people, it's not really a manga. Still, it is a manga because let's see, it's right to left. It's the life of Robert Johnson. The title's called Me and the Devil Blues. Let's see. Yeah. It's Me and the Devil Blues book. The Unreal Life of Robert Johnson. It says here that legend has it that if you take your guitar and stand at a crossroad at the witching hour, the devil will appear. He'll grab your instrument, play a song, and hand it back to you. You'll walk away an expert bluesman. But you'll have to pay the price, your immortal soul. It's like selling your soul to the devil. The year is 1929. Deep in the Mississippi Delta, a young man named RJ, or Robert Johnson, dreams of becoming a bluesman. Robert Johnson is a simple farmer who can barely play guitar. But when he takes a midnight stroll, his life is changed forever. A phantasmagoric reimagining of the life of the legendary blues great Robert Johnson. Me and the Devil Blues follows the journey of a man who really did sell his soul to the devil. Why not come along for the ride? Well, I've read this. I've already read this. It was interesting. Although I just found it in a very cheap bookstore. I don't know. Someone decided to just sell it for second hand. So I took it. Yeah, I took the comic. I'm like that. I really take. In a bookstore, I look for something that is unusual. I like looking at things for unusual stuff. I don't know. Call me. I don't know. You can call me whatever you please, but I am the guy who kind of looks for something that's very unique among numerous common items or anything unusual out of place. I look for that kind of item, be it in a bookstore or in a random store, any store, in an antique shop or souvenir store. I look for something that's really unusual, unique, in other words. I don't look for something that's common. I mean, yeah, sure, commonality sells well, but unique items, not too much. Still, I look for those things. Anyway, I do have more comics here, but I do have this comic. It's really heavy, but yeah. This is yeah, this is a comic I like in a bookstore. I actually found this comic. It's by Joe Sugg. It's a according to here, he's the blogger and internet personality behind the YouTube channel, the Thatcher Joe, Thatcher Joe Vlog, and Thatcher Joe Games. He lives in London, England. I think many people have already made videos about his comic. I'm apparently doing this now because I just found it in a local fully bookstore, and it was the last copy. No one bothered to get it, so I got it. So and then I just said, "Oh, this is very interesting. I'm gonna take it." Well, I don't know. It was out of place. No offense, but it was out of place. There was no other copies of this. It was I found it somewhere among DC comics or among a bunch of Marvel comics. Though I'm not really interested in buying Marvel or DC comics because, well, I don't really have a collection of any of those. But I collect certain other comics. There are other comics here, but due to my arrangement, they're really difficult to get, and I don't want to actually ruin my arrangement in there. So yeah. Just to credit Mr. Joe Sugg, this is a comic he made about some girl who pretty much has a crappy life. Her dad probably makes. I don't want to spoil the story, but yeah, basically pretty much the kind of unique for a story. I like the story. Very interesting. I mean, let me just read the one on the back. Like anyone who feels they don't fit in, Evie dreams of a safe place. When times are tough, all she wants is a chance to escape from reality and be herself. Unknown to Evie, her loving father has been working tirelessly to create a virtual world where she can get away and life as she knows it is about to change forever. Could this be the perfect world Evie has longed for, or does her hardest journey still lie ahead? Well, I like the theme of the story because it's about, it's about the thing that I really despise most of the time, which is fitting in and being accepted. I don't like the idea of you're forcing someone to fit in and be accepted like a Tetris block who just freaking disappears later on. You try to clone them into one of your kind, they'll eventually disappear, probably lose their identity. It's like losing one's identity. Sometimes, like, I think this is a blog more of an individuality, but we should be individuals. We should express our individuality, but though the sad reality is that we have to also wear masks every time we go out of our safety zone or our comfort zone. We have to wear masks, unless of course you're like people. You're a few people. You're one of the few people like I am who doesn't give a shit about what society thinks and then just express what they feel like expressing. Although sometimes you gotta have, yeah, you know, you should know how to deal with people and such. You know what to show. You know, I mean, being an individual is not about being 100% who you truly are. If you really are someone of a douchebag, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't suggest you totally show it in the society. You don't fully express something. If you're truly a bad person, I mean, no offense, but if you truly are a bad person, you don't express it. Being an individual is about expressing your views and being open to other people. It's not about being radical to, you just express your opinion, but it doesn't hurt to be open-minded. You need to learn how to embrace your comrades' ideas, or maybe question their ideas without bashing them like a bunch of people in the internet. I know I've been into the internet, seen a lot of bashful comments towards others. Maybe had an experience of my own, one or two, a few. Well, my comrade, the internet, experienced lots of bashing. I've seen so much bashing in his. Yeah, he's not the one bashing. It's the people who he used to be friends with who's been bashing him. Everyone seems to hate him in that certain. But hey, I mean, if they probably cannot tolerate the guy, but people like us, we can. People like me, I can tolerate such people. Although, the only thing you need to do in something like that, if they keep bashing you, just live your life, ignore them, show them as if you don't give a shit. You don't give a fucking damn, you don't give a crap. Yeah, you just if they shoot words at you, you do this, you shoot them back. No, actually, no. You don't shoot them back, actually. But maybe it's like that's kind of hypocritical. I'm sorry, but if they start shooting at you like this, make sure you have a bulletproof vest. Although bulletproof vest, yeah, I don't think that's probably another thing, but still. Bulletproof vest may sound, yeah, that's kind of hypocritical. Maybe you need a mirror or something that can deflect. Every time they spur words out of you, just use a mirror. Especially in the physical world, if they try to spur at you or curse at you, show them a mirror. Tell them. If they gonna ask, why do you have a mirror? You say, you tell me, asshole, you tell me, why do I have a mirror? I mean, it's not gonna be easy to explain such thing, because it's gonna take a long, detailed explanation. But you get the picture of why I'm saying, show them a mirror. Here's the shorter version. Well, if they start bashing you, you show them a mirror. The mirror represents something that will deflect at them. It represents themselves. They're looking at their own reflection. In fact, they're just bashing themselves. With very clever idea, but of course there's always people who's gonna smash your mirror physically. So I don't advise bringing a mirror, but you get the idea. You say, tell that to the mirror or something. Anyway, back to the comics. I have plenty of other comics here and then some books there. Well, apparently I just have like 2 cheap Archie comics, but I've read both of these. An Indiana Jones comic as well. It's by Dark Horse. I like Dark Horse comics. Actually, I do have a Mass Effect comic right here, but it's difficult to obtain, although I can perhaps hold on. Wait, this is kind of it, so yeah. Hold it. Right. Yeah, I also have Toy Story comic. I know, right? Even this, I do have comics of this. Although I only found number 4 and number 2 and 4. It's 4 volumes, but I only found number 2 and number 4. So yeah. My favorite story by H.G. Wells is The Time Machine. Even this is a comic, but I like the movie, the book, and the comic. I actually like this, but I like other versions of the comic. This comic is actually for kids. So, well, I even have Toy Story. I think I showed that to you already. This one, Artemis Fowl. Only the second one. This is the second one. It's Artemis Fowl. Well, why I got interested? What made me buy an Artemis Fowl comic? Well, apparently back in first year high school, Artemis Fowl was kind of not really our thing, but a requirement to read. Although sadly I didn't find the first Artemis Fowl graphic novel, I did find the Arctic Incident. Yeah. Artemis Fowl composed of elves, humans, well obviously humans, I think goblins as well. It's interesting, but I have to, I don't really read much. Some Filipino comics, I guess. Yeah. This is a Filipino comic, but it's not actually Filipino, it's in English, so thankfully. It's some demons about, yeah. This one is number 1 and number 2. So number 1 is that every legend hides a lie. A murdered sky god reemerges in a modern day Manila. A Tikbalang prince plots vengeance for the death of his father. And the queen of the Aswang unleashes the mythical Bakunawa upon the streets of the city, caught in their age-old struggle in Andoy. A crippled orphan that discovers he is the fulfillment of a prophecy dating back to Lapu-Lapu himself. The second one says that the Queen of the Aswang and her legion have taken over the country. Alexandra Tries leads the resistance alongside Macabo, a Tikbalan warrior, and Kayo, an duende trickster. Trapped in their epic battle is Andoy, a teenage boy tasked with uniting an army of Tikbalang, Encanto, Caprie, and Duende against the Aswang. But before he can lead them, he must first recover a mystical sword that was once a part of the fabled Yamashita treasure. Well, to explain certain things, the Filipino culture, aswang means ghost, but not exactly a ghost. More of like, well, simply a ghost, but in a ghost that is, in your terms, in the Western terms, it's more of the malevolent ghost instead of the benevolent ghost. Aswang are kind of evil spirits. Yeah, evil spirits. They roam around, and, you know, the drill. A tikbalang, on the other hand, is a human body with a horse head, with the head of a horse. Yeah, a muscular human with the head of a horse. Probably the height is probably 6 to 7 feet tall. I know that's kind of scary, but yeah, and very muscular, very buff. A tikbalang is a man's body with a horse head. So let's see. Encantos are more of guardian spirits, you know, elementals. That's our Filipino term, elementals. Capre, on the other hand, is a very giant black man he's a black man who is smoking in a mango tree. I mean, not a black man as in race, but rather a monster who has a big cigar, who smokes, who probably tries to rape women. Well, you know, yeah, more of the rapist type of person who sits in your chest. If you're a woman, of course. I mean, I think it also applies for a man, but mostly women are the victims of the capre. They are big as, I don't know, probably also 7 feet tall, very, very big, probably like the size of Murdoch from Tekken. So a duende is goblins or dwarves. It's actually dwarves, although not exactly dwarves, but more of gnomes, garden gnomes. If you have garden gnomes in America, we have invisible gnomes who play tricks on people, especially if you trip over their anthill. Well, that's what legend says. Well, anyway, one of the books I actually failed to complete is this, The Circle Trilogy by Ted Dekker. I actually like the concept between these stories is because of that. It's imagine a person living two lives. One in the modern day city, modern day time, and another in a fantasy filled world. It's like when you sleep in one, you wake up in the other. and then vice versa. So here goes Black by Ted Dekker, the Circle Trilogy. While fleeing a hitman through the deserted alleys of Denver, a bullet clips Thomas Hunter's head. He escapes with his life, but later passes out from his wounds, and his world is swallowed by black. From the dark comes an amazing reality of another world. A world where evil is contained. A world where Thomas is in love with a beautiful woman. A world that stands on the brink of annihilation. Where does the dream end and reality begin? Every time he falls asleep in one world, he wakes in another. Each facing unimaginable evil and each with a fate unknowingly tied to the other. Some say the world hangs in the balance of every choice we make. Now the fate of two worlds hangs in the balance of one man's choice. That is, if he can live to see the end of the day. So basically, that's the story is about what I said earlier. Black, the birth of evil. Although, if you want the actual, originally this is not a comic; it's an actual book. There's a novel by Ted Dekker. Here goes the second, which is red. Sadly, I didn't get the third, which is white. Missed the chance. The red is heroic rescue. So here it is. Thomas Hunter is caught between two realities, each facing a meltdown of each proportion. When he dreams in one world, he wakens in another. In one reality, he is a respected general leading the vastly outnumbered forest people in a war that would end life as they know it. In the other, he is racing to stop the release of the deadliest airborne virus ever created. The virus has 3 weeks latency period. Now only days remain before its deadly power is unleashed. Thomas must find a way to change history or face the destruction of two worlds. Continue the journey of the Circle Trilogy as the mind-bending pace of black accelerates in the red. Dive deep, go head to head with an adversary who's twice as smart and 10 times as strong. But remember, time is running out. Sadly, I don't have white, or this will actually be a trilogy. Well, but anyway. Yeah, something of Book of God. I haven't read this yet, but I also have Babylon. Yeah, the Babylonians, and a comic book of Jesus Christ. Yeah. 101 questions about Bible and Christianity. I know. You're probably asking, why do I have a comic of Jesus Christ? But, I just got it for fun. Eternity. I think this is a battle between heaven and hell. Not sure, but yeah. It's actually Christian comics. I mean, Kingston Comics make Christian comics, so why not? Yes. Crossing Midnight. I like the... Too bad I don't have the first, though. I don't have the first comic. So, yeah. I forgot the story of this, but I haven't read the first comic yet. But this is the second one. This is the third. Though, if I'm gonna say, baby, it says here, Night in the City. Toshi and Kaihara, twins separated by a few minutes at birth. are each drawn separately into Tokyo. Toshi learns her new duties as Lord Aratsu's servant, and Kai to search for his missing sister. To Toshi, the city presents a sinister face, attuned to the invisible kingdom. She sees ghosts and monsters wherever she goes. But when she insults the biggest monster of all, the Gleaner, one of the 5 faces of death, her fortunes takes a definite turn for the worse. Brother Kai has a different goal in mind, and with the help of Inspector Yamada, it seems that he's finally close to picking up Toshi's trail. But his plans are derailed when he's forcibly adopted by Tokyo's teenage girls and stumbles across the activities of supernatural serial killers. Kai and Toshi are walking the same ground almost at the same time, but they never been so far apart. Well, yeah, I've read this one, but I don't remember this thing. So, in this, Toshi and Kaihara are twins, a sister and a brother whose birth fell on either side of midnight. That small separation has grown into a vast chasm. However, since they found themselves caught up in a centuries-old conflict between warring factions of Japan's hidden spirits, the Kami, in exchange for her mother's life, Toshi has pledged herself to Aratsu, the brutal king of swords, leaving Kai desperately searching for his lost sister. Now, with the help of unlikely allies, including a teenage prostitute, an ex-porn star, a murderous Ronin, and a godlike dragon, Kai is closing in on the truth behind Aratsu, Toshi and his family, mysterious relationship with the realm of Kami. With all her memories cut away by her vicious master, Toshi is seeking Kai as well, in her new capacity as an Aratsu's assassin. I think I did read this. Yeah, and now I remember I've read this thing. I remember I read this. She apparently kills her brother, I think. Sad. Oh well. Anyway,